Okay, there's just a few more things we're going to cover here. One of them is painting in After Effects. So if you want to, you can paint kind of like you do in Photoshop. I actually think Photoshop's a little easier to manage, but you can totally do it in After Effects as well. So I thought I'd show you real quickly how to do it. Remember, everything in After Effects is based on this idea that we have these effects controls. Then we also have our sort of panel that has the project details in it, and then we also have these layers. So to paint, you're probably going to want to create a new layer. So if you go up here to Layer, Layer New, and let's just do like a solid layer. No, sorry, let's not do a solid. Let's do a new shape layer. So you click on the new shape layer, right, and then you double click it. It's not going to let me do it. Sorry, go up to Layer, go to New Solid Layer, and then you double click it. It will open up in the layer palette, which is different than the comp. So the comp is showing you what everything we have here looks like. The layer palette just shows you what you're doing to just the layer that you have selected. So if we click on the layer palette, now we have this. And if you grab your paintbrush and you go to Window, Paint, again, so if you can't see this, you can just go up here to Window and Paint. You'll see that you have all these options that are on here. And so if you want to, you can actually paint a nice little masterpiece of a picture in here that you can use a tablet if you want to. There's pressure sensitivity. You can change the brushes and make them bigger and smaller. You can certainly change the color just like you would in Photoshop or Illustrator. You can change whether your color is multiply or whether it's something else. There's all these options that you can kind of play around with. And if we go back to our comp now, you'll see that this layer is on top of everything else. So we can rearrange it if we want to and try to make the layers look better. But again, since we're drawing against a white background, the best solution is probably going to be to just change this into a multiply layer. So if you go up here to blending modes and go to multiply, now it kind of looks like I've drawn some graffiti over the top of that guy. And you can see that it only comes on after the moment in the timeline that I drew it in the layer palette, right? So there it is. So I started it there. So I mean, this is sort of, you could do stuff with this if you want to. It's okay, but probably really the only cool thing I can think of for this is that you can actually go in there now and kind of animate brush strokes. So I'm just going to delete that solid. And we're just going to go like New Layer, New Solid, make sure it's white, click OK. Then we'll double click it to open it up here. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of my timeline. And if you go over here to the Paint palette, again, there's all these options that you can play with, but there's this duration called constant or single frame, so you can do the same thing where you're just painting from frame to frame to frame, just like we did in Photoshop. Or you can go to Right On. And Right On is kind of cool, because if you click on it, and I do let's say I do something like this, just make some scribbles on there. What it's going to do now is it's basically going to animate that brush stroke as it goes through. So if I wanted to now, if I go back to my comp, take a look at the comp, as it plays through, aha, there it is. So it kind of animates that brush stroke, and if I click on this and I go to the blending mode again and I go to multiply, it's gonna kind of look like the line is sort of tweaking and growing as we come across. So, you can use this for some interesting stuff. You can change sort of what happens with the brush. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. If we go back to our layer now, and I select a bigger brush and a little different color, I can again just make sure I have that selected, and I can add some more amazingness, and it will write on from that point forward. So you can kind of see how it just renders this, just animates, it just basically records what we have going. So and now, if I wanted to, I could go in here and I could actually adjust this. I can make the whole thing move if I want, so I can change its position throughout time, so I can make the whole entire thing move if I want to. So the whole drawing kind of moves as it comes across, or I can change the opacity. So if I want to, I can crank the opacity on that way down, and so you can hardly see it. It might be a nice subtle little thing to add in there. So it's just, again, there's lots and lots of options for things that you can do with within all of these. And every time there's a tutorial down, there's another set and layer of modifications you can make to your image. So that is the basics, sort of simple, what kind of work you can do in After Effects. You're going to want to make something that looks really good as opposed to this terrible thing that I've been making here, just to show you what to do. But yeah, have a great time. Just remember to save your work often, and remember to keep your stuff organized.